Hey traders, welcome back to the FX Heat YouTube channel. Hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend so far. EU is still trading in the range. We had a very nice move to finish the week, but what can we expect next? Let's get into the analysis and try to come up with some ideas of what to expect next week. So starting with the fundamentals, it's relatively quiet next week. We have CPI on Wednesday during New York session, and we have PPI as well on Thursday during New York session. Moving on to Dixie. So starting with the monthly time frame, so it's clear to see that structure is very bullish. We had a very nice monthly candle with a huge wick last month, but what we can see since then is we started to come a little lower at the beginning of last week, and then ultimately we started to push up towards the end of last week. If we go to the weekly time frame, so again, structure is bullish. It's more visible on the weekly time frame where we came down a little lower, tapping into demand, and then after that pushing to the upside, continuing strong at the end of the week. And then if we go to the daily time frame, so daily as well, structure is bullish. We started the week with a nice push down, and then thereafter started to push up. So we reacted off demand, pushed away from demand quite aggressively. We had a pullback back into demand, and then thereafter started to push higher again at the end of the week. And if we go to the 4-hour time frame, so structure was bearish, but last week we started to shift bullish, so price came down into demand early last week. So we started the week coming a little lower, and then after that we pushed away from demand, started to push up higher and higher. Had a little consolidation, but ultimately pushing above, breaking the previous high. And then after that we came back down again, not into 4-hour demand, but there was a 15-minute demand zone here that we reacted off of, and then we had the NFP candle that pushed price very aggressively to the upside, once again breaking the highs. So in terms of my bias and expectation, for Dixie, my bias is shifting bullish. So I'm expecting more bullish price action next week. Moving forward, what I could see is a significant pullback. So I could see the price coming down quite deep, potentially into demand, starting to see a shift, and then after that confirmation with a pullback to push to the upside. So this is one of the scenarios I could see, but I could also see price coming even deeper. So I could see price coming deeper using this low as inducement, coming all the way into 4-hour demand, start to create a shift with a pullback, and then after that pushing up and ultimately attacking the highs for a bigger push to the upside. So those are my thoughts on Dixie. If we move to EU now, once again starting with the monthly time frame first. So once again, EU is the opposite of what we see in Dixie. So on the monthly time frame, clearly bearish. We had a nice pullback on last month's candle, but then what we can see from the next month, we came back a little deeper into supply, and then after that started to reverse and push to the downside. We had a little pullback towards the end of the week, but I'm expecting price to start to continue bearish from now on. If we go on the weekly time frame, so once again structure is bearish. We came deep into demand, started to push away, created this doji candle right here, and then after that, this last week's candle, we pushed up a little higher, and then ultimately came back down, creating a bearish candle, but pulling back a little towards the end of the week. And if we go to the daily time frame, so on the daily time frame, structure, as you can see, is bearish. Price is currently stuck between this 200 pip range. It's a little less clear on what to expect when looking at EU on this time frame. So last week, you can see EU swept the range to the upside and then had an immediate reaction and pushed down quite deep into demand. We had our doji candle, and then after that a push to the upside. Haven't broken anything on the upside, but then started to come right back down, mainly due to NFP on Friday. The price range that we're trading in, you can see it's well below supply, but it's also above demand as well. So you can see this gap between demand and the current price range, and same with the supply. You have a huge gap here where price is currently trading in that huge range. We can also see that price has pulled back 50% of the last leg down. So there is a good chance that we've already had a significant enough of a pullback for a higher time frame to start to realign and start to push price right back down. But like I said, it's a little unclear when we look at the price action, how it's just ranging in this huge range for the time being. At least when we look on this time frame, I think the easiest way to trade EU is just to look for confirmation for reversals when price takes liquidity in premium, and then look for shorts. And same for when the price is in discount. So when the price is in discount, look for confirmations for entries for reversal and try to take the price up, and keep on doing that until it doesn't work anymore and we clearly break one way or another. Now if we go down on the 4-hour time frame, so it's much more apparent that, I mean, this is just like a huge mess. We're just ranging up and down in this 200 pip range, and you could easily look for buys in discount and sells in premium, and do that over and over until we really start to see the true direction that EU wants to go. I mean, it's just really messy because you can see that here we broke the range to the downside, tapped into demand, and thereafter pushed up, swept the range that we were trading in to the upside, and then after that came right back down. We pushed up one more time. Didn't go into 4-hour supply, but if I remember correctly, there was a 15-minute supply zone that we did tap into, and ultimately reacted off. And then when NFP came around, just slammed right back down. And then since then, you can see we started to push up, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see price come up a little further. And then, like I said before, I mean, look for sells when we're in premium. What else can I say here? What we can see here, though, is we did break the last point of demand on that last push down. We did come up close to supply and started to reverse. So there is a chance that we could see price starting to come back down after we get a pullback. If I talk about my bias and expectation, so looking at EU, it's quite a bit more difficult to have a clear bias as structure is currently unclear. But if I leverage based on what I'm seeing on Dixie, then my expectation aligning with what I'm seeing with Dixie is that EU will probably come down from next week. What I could see is price continuing to push to the upside into supply, and then we have a shift in structure, and then after that starting to come down to the downside. And I could also see, as we haven't tapped into supply yet, I could also see a bigger pullback where we do come into supply, start to see a shift, the pullback, and then starting to push down further and further to the downside. But as I said before, we are currently trading in this huge range, and this could potentially continue on for a few more days or maybe even weeks. But all things considered, if price breaks out of this range, I'm thinking it's gonna come or break to the downside. But anyways, that's how I'm looking at the markets for right now. But like I said before, I'll probably just look for sells when we're in premium and buys when we're in discount, and try to trade the range until it doesn't work anymore. And ultimately, if price does come down, I have a feeling it'll probably come down quite swiftly and push down. I'm not sure if it's going to continue and break the lows, although higher time frame is telling me that it should. But we'll just have to wait and see. Mainly, I could see price coming down maybe to this candle, and then we can see the reaction from there, or coming a little deeper into the last demand created by this wick down here, and see the reaction from there. There's no guarantee that it is going to reverse and start to push up from there. Could just continue to the downside, break the lows and keep on going lower. But if it does decide to reverse and push to the upside, then it'll probably be from one of these two areas. Okay, well anyways, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this weekly analysis. Please let me know your thoughts on next week's price action by leaving a comment below. I'm curious to know your thoughts, if you think we're going to continue to range next week, or if we're going to break one way or another, and which way we're going to break. And if you found value in this video, please be sure to click the like button and subscribe to ensure you don't miss any future videos. And enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday or Tuesday. Peace. Hey, you made it to the very end. Thanks for that. If you could do me one more favor and click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, it'll allow the YouTube algos to kick in and help this channel grow. Thanks again. Cheers.